Morning, everybody, and welcome to the second hour of TRAXXfm's Tracks Momentum, our special interview feature of the day. This one's called Face to Face, and I'm your host, Anil, on the mic. And today we're going to speak about something that we, as Malaysians, were recently introduced to by its official launch, the Central Database Hub, or Padu as it's called with the acronym, and its full term Pangkalan Data Utama, which is basically the government's initiative to amalgamate and consolidate all data concerning the people so that much more streamlined services could be afforded to people. And also the government can come up and craft some better policies to cater towards the people who really need the subsidies that are required. And to help give us a better insight, share his expert opinion and analysis on this, I have on the phone lines Professor Emeritus Barjoyai Bardai. He's an economic analyst from the University Tun Abdul Razak. Prof, good morning and welcome to Face to Face. Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof. Are you there? Okay, let's jump in for another quick break and see if we can try to get our guest, Professor Barjoyai, back on air again. This is Face to Face on Tracks Momentum. Lemon Tree. Trini Lopez, welcome back to TRAXXfm's Tracks Momentum. This is Face to Face, and yes, just a quick recap on the topic of our conversation. We're speaking today about the Central Database Hub, or Padu, which is Pangkalan Data Utama. Just 2 days ago, our Prime Minister, Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim, officially officiated this database, which is a collection of big data to consolidate data concerning the people and to share some insights and expert opinion. I have on the phone lines Professor Emeritus Barjoyai Bardai on the phone lines. He's an economic analyst with University Tun Abdul Razak. Professor, good morning.
Good morning to you, Anil. How are you?
I'm doing good. And yourself, Prof?
I'm doing very good. Yes.
Okay. Great. Good to hear that. And we're very excited to get your opinions and your thoughts. And we hope that you're as candid as you can with the information you're about to share with us here on Face to Face. So to start things off, what was your reaction to the recently launched Central Database Hub?
Yes, to me, this is a very good development. It is like another leap in the new era of digital transformation. And so far, we have always been relying on the macro data, and the statistics department has been supplying us with the macro data on the GDP per capita, and so on. Now we are moving into another era, which is the micro data. And micro data is the base for the launching of what is called as the big data analytics. And big data analytics is part of the transformation process into the industrial revolution 4.0 and 5.0. And what is important about this transformation is that we are going to accumulate the micro data of every household, individual that live in this country, and this will be used for many purposes. And immediately, this will be used to implement this project of the direct subsidy. Basically, we want to rewash the subsidy, or especially on petrol and diesel, and we want to use this data immediately to determine who will be entitled for the subsidy. That's the first stage.
Okay, and could you also further explain as to why the Central Database Hub is a very timely move by our Prime Minister? And maybe you can also add on by giving us some reasons on why you think they have introduced this.
Yeah, basically, imagine, the government has been spending almost 80 billion every year on subsidies, and 50 billion subsidies are given on petrol and diesel. And this subsidy is not targeted, and hence there's a lot of waste in this. A lot of it has been abused, has been smuggled into other countries, because price of diesel is 5 times, or rather 3 times in other countries, in the neighboring countries. And so we need a more targeted scheme, and this is one scheme that can achieve that. And so that's an effort to try to identify who are the households that really need help. We have 32.6 million population, about nearly 20 million households, and we don't have data before this. We just use our guess and try to help this population. Today, we hope that we will be collecting this micro data, data of everybody, their income, their expenses, the class of expenses, their wealth, and basically details of their financial aspect. And for example, today we are using these classifications of B40, M40, and T20. But this classification is too broad, too vague. As a result, there are many people who have been actually overlooked, and hence they did not get what they deserve to have some.
Okay. So yeah, in other words, when you refer to macro data, it's essentially big data that the government is accumulating right now. And I think it's very similar to how corporate organizations have something called KYC, to know your customers, so they're able to streamline and offer better services. So in this case, it allows the government to provide and also craft better policies. Yeah, Professor?
That's right. The policy aspect is the second stage, where when we have all this micro data and we use the big data analytics, we will know the patterns of expenditure, we know the income stage, we know the basic qualification, and whether the qualification match the work that they are doing now. So all this will become basis for doing the economic analysis, so that we will have a more effective and productive citizen in Malaysia.
And how do you think the introduction of this database can enhance public services in the country?
Yeah. Public service is the most important thing, because they are the delivery mechanism. Unless they deliver, whatever is being planned by the government, by the politician, will stay on the document. So we need the implementer to be very efficient. And to be efficient, we need to really be up to date with the system. Today, everybody is on a digitalization mechanism. Even banking system are already on digitalization. So the granting of subsidy, the distributions of wealth, the distributions of income should be based on some digital facts rather than a macro based data.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving us your insights in these opening minutes of our conversation here in Face to Face, Professor. We'll jump in for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll try to discuss further and explore on how the Central Database Hub can be of help to Malaysians living in remote areas. Yeah? Okay, thank you very much. For those of you just tuning in, I'm now speaking to Professor Emeritus Barjoyai Bardai. He's an economic analyst at University Tun Abdul Razak, and today's edition of Face to Face, we're speaking about the Central Database Hub. We'll be back after a quick break. Keep it right here on TRAXX Momentum. Welcome back to Face to Face on Tracks Momentum. I'm your host Anil on the mic, and joining us today on the phone lines is Professor Emeritus Barjoyai Bardai. He's an economic analyst at University Tun Abdul Razak, and today we're having a dialogue on the introduction of the Central Database Hub, or Padu, Pangkalan Data Utama. Professor, welcome back to Face to Face.
Thank you.
All right, now, Professor, now let's talk about the importance of getting across facilities and services to Malaysians in rural areas, social welfare programs, medical treatment, and educational materials. These are all matters of concern that need to go out there to them. So how do you think Padu can benefit Malaysians living in remote areas?
Okay. First of all, Anil, we need to make sure that every citizen, doesn't matter how remote they are, from the central headquarters administrative center, to register. So, and there will be teams to help them register, and we will register them, and we will get their information, basic information about their income, their source of income, their diet, their expenses, and also their education and their life style in the village. And then we will use this data to actually come up with policy for the specific group. For example, in this rural area, we are no longer talking about a general policy about rural development. We want a specific policy about how people in, for example, this remote area in Tasik Chini live, and the system will be able to capture them because the data is available, and it is a matter of analyzing and separate them to come up with specific program for them. And so this is what we hope will happen, and there will be coordination, of course, between ministry. The economic ministry will work with the local authority, with the state, and with the all development institutions to make sure that everyone will be careful, because the theme is the well-being of the people, and that's the era in 2024. Yeah.
And to achieve that, one of the major premises of Padu was actually to streamline the various government agencies, the data that they have, into one common central database, so that the government can avoid any redundant work, and also at the same time to maximize resource allocation. So how will this data exchange work in Padu, Professor?
Yes. So in the big data analytics, we will have a central database system. And this central database system will be accessible to each and every authorized department, unit, and institution, and this will be drawn by this institution for their own activities, and feedback will be given back to the central database to update. And when they update, it is not the update about the macro activity. It's about particular household that has benefited, particular household that need to be taken care, and so on. So hopefully, this coordination will avoid duplication in effort. Will also avoid some a group of households that were missing or not being taken into account, for example, in a particular program. And hopefully in every year we will have report on the performance and the achievement of this particular institution, activity, department on the development of household and their well-being.
Now let's talk about public confidence, public perception. What are some of the measures that have been taken to guarantee complete accountability and, openness and gathering and also handling these data, because data right now is a matter of utmost privacy and concern. So tell us about some of the measures that have been put into place, Professor.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have always been overzealously protecting our data background. We want to make sure that the data will not be abused. But the problem is actually with this rapid development in the social media, we voluntarily actually releasing all our private data to the public. And we do not realize it when we use WhatsApp, we use Facebook. Our data has been captured and used by the commercial institution, and soon enough we will get messages, offer, and so on from institutions that we've never had any contact before. So this is our worry, whether the central database system can protect us from this abuse. Of course, this system is developed locally by the government, and this system is being tested on the foolproof protection. Of course, there may be some glitch here and there. I mean, but we will keep on making sure that the system is foolproof and fully protected before we go into the next steps of releasing data to the third party, for example.
And how do you believe the Central Database Hub can address current gaps and inequalities? In other words, how people actually access government services. How do you think this one can streamline all of that?
Yeah, this is the most important thing because the data must be complete, then the data must be clean. This is the theory of garbage in, garbage out. So if the data that we collected is not complete, then we will have some problem. For example, someone called me and said that, okay, I am earning 8,000 ringgit, but I am a single mother. I have 3 children to take care. I have my parent that is fully dependent on me. I paid their house loan. I also pay my house, and I have to pay also their living costs. So the 8,000 actually end up with less than 1,000 left every month. So am I eligible for this benefit and so on? Looking at the surface, with 8,000 ringgit, this person is considered as higher middle income, and he may be excluded from some benefit. But this is where the system must really capture some exceptional circumstances, some micro minute detail, so that no one will be left from this possibility, and we want to make sure that everyone is really taken care in the process, and this is the only way for us to make sure that the benefit of development must filter down to everyone. Of course, this involves many programs, and each program has a different target, and we need to integrate this target so that the achievement can be measured quantitatively every year.
Quantitatively every year. I like that, how you punctuated that. Let's jump in for another quick break, and when we come back, we shall resume with our discussion. For all of you who just tuned in, I'm now speaking to Professor Emeritus Barjoyai Bardai. He's an economic analyst at University Tun Abdul Razak, and today on Face to Face we are discussing about the Central Database Hub, or Pangkalan Data Utama. Keep it right here on Face to Face at Tracks Momentum. Face to Face, it is here right now on Tracks Momentum with me, your host Anil on the mic. Joining us on the phone lines is Professor Emeritus Barjoyai Bardai, an economic analyst at University Tun Abdul Razak. And today, Professor is actually talking to us about the central database hub of Pangkalan Data Utama. Now, Professor, earlier on before the break, you spoke to us. We spoke about, the public confidence and the trust that the people have on this Padu system. Now let's talk about security measures that have been put into place because, like you mentioned, data is so sensitive and everyone is, looking after their data really, really well, just like how they look after their assets. Privacy, protection of personal data is of utmost importance right now. So what are some of the measures and the safeguards, elements that have been put into place to enhance the security of the data that's in this Padu system?
Okay, other than the identification number, we also have some verification process. There is also some form of protection on the data where not all the data will be available to everyone. The data will only be released based on the need of a particular institution. And we will have a system of firewall, and this will be in every station. And we are going to also make sure that the latest technology, for example, on crypto, will be available so that this will protect the confidential data, so that it cannot be copied, it cannot be altered, and so on. But of course, as any system, we will have to launch it and do it at one at a time, and along the way, we will improve it to make sure that the protection system will be much stronger. But for a moment, we are having a basic system that we felt that is strong enough to protect the data, at least from being abused by the
infiltrators,
the outside, yes.
Okay. Now, in hindsight, what are the enhancements that you think that will contribute to the overall general well-being should the adoption of the this Padu system be off to a great start? How do you foresee this impacting the lives of Malaysians?
Okay. First of all, we plead for full support of every household. Though it is voluntary right now, we hope that everyone will register and everyone will supply their data, because unless everyone cooperates, we will not have the big data complete. And if the big data is not complete, then we will not be able to use it for policy making, for economic analysis. That's number one. Number two, this is actually a process of migration into IR 4.0 and 5.0, as I mentioned earlier. And I remember the case of, I want to show you a candid observation. I visited Rwanda about 5 years ago, and I went to the remote village to see how farmers are working on their tapioca farm. And what is very interesting was, before this, they were saying that these farmers are having their sword or parang on their waist. But now they have 2-3 sets of smartphones on their waist. And then I said, why? And then I saw it in action. Suddenly they took out their smartphone and typed something. And not long after that, a lorry came with a load of fertilizer and seed. And I said, how do you do this? They said this is connected through a microfinance bank that actually do the work, and they don't use cash anymore, and they don't have to move from their farm to get their supply, and everything is through digital system. And we hope that this is the transformation that we'll see. What happened in China 15 years ago when they transformed, forcing the household to adopt the digital currency. They use Alipay and the WeChat, and even barber shop will not accept cash anymore. They want the digital currency. And when they come for holiday here in Malaysia, they also don't bring cash. They just use their smartphone to pay. And that has actually lifted over 600 million of Chinese population from poverty. So they are out of poverty because of the transformation. And we hope that this will happen in Malaysia because from this onward, from now on, we hope that all the farmers, all the households in the remote area will be exposed to digital currency, the digitalization of process, and they will adopt digitalization as a way of life.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving us your insights. And I think, I can attest to, the instances you shared about how things are in Rwanda and also in China, especially now with the, introduction of quantum computing and artificial intelligence with this rapid programming of information, which all stems from big data. Data is essential for us to be able to come up with this acceleration of changes. And just a very quick hello to one of our listeners, Riv Lee, who has commented on our stream via Facebook. Riv Lee, good morning. Thank you very much for watching us. And once again, Professor Emeritus Barjoyai Bardai, thank you so much for being with us on today's edition of Face to Face. Is there anything else that you wish to say before we let you go for the show?
Yes, thank you. I hope that this is just the first stage. This, of course, is as a big catalyst, but it must move to the next stage. For example, we have to create a society of what we call apps and gaming developer, so that we will create this artificial intelligence community, and that will be the next stage. The next stage where we see that a lot of things will get implemented, will get introduced in the Malaysian economic system.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, Professor. You have a great day today. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you, Anil.
You're welcome. Okay, and that was my conversation with Professor Emeritus Barjoyai Bardai, an economic analyst at University Tun Abdul Razak. And today, Professor shared with us his insights and opinions on the Central Database Hub, Pangkalan Data Utama. For our listeners who just tuned in, and if you missed out on this conversation, worry not, you can always head straight back to our official Facebook page and our YouTube channel and catch the replay of this conversation there. And if you haven't, the time is now for you to head straight to the Padu website, and we urge you for you to contribute towards the amalgamation, the consolidation of the data by visiting the website padu.gov.my, because this consolidation of data can help to enhance the quality of life of all Malaysians in the country, which includes you and I. Time on the clock right now, 54 minutes into the hour. In 6 minutes, we'll be crossing over to the RTM News Centre for the 12 o'clock news updates, and then I'll be back for the third hour of TRAXX Momentum. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.